This Mike Johnson thing is really interesting. And no, I don't think he's lying. I think he's telling the truth.
You think that Trump was an FBI informant?
Yes, I do.
Oh, interesting. Why do you think that?
Number one, that's a super weird thing to make up. You don't just slip up and go, oh yeah, John Idaho is a CIA agent. You're like, wait, what? Why would that even pop into your head? Okay, because it's also very specific. It's not, oh, he helped loosely. He said he was an FBI informant.
No, come on. If we're being honest, Mike was just reaching for words to sound good. He's like, oh, this guy helped. This guy told on Epstein to the FBI and stuff. He was an FBI informant. You know, he was like, he was doing this in real time. What the fuck? Yeah, apparently he's already walked it back. Wait, hello? I'm sorry, I need to listen to that again. 1 second.
This Mike Johnson thing is really interesting. And no, I don't think he's lying. I think he's telling the truth.
You think that Trump was an FBI informant?
Yes, I do.
Oh, interesting. Why do you think that?
Bruh. Number one, that's a super weird thing to make up. You don't just slip up and go, oh yeah, John Idaho is a CIA agent. You're like, wait, what? Why would that even pop into your head?
Why would Mike Johnson, why would he even know that? Oh, am I retarded? Was he like a former FBI director? What do you mean slip up? Like, is this just a well-known thing that everybody except the entirety of the American public? Why would you think he would even have that information? Well, like, what?
Okay, because it's also very specific. It's not, oh, he helped loosely. He said he was.
It literally was. He helped loosely. You could tell he was just reaching for stupid shit. Oh my God. Let's just to watch this again. It was obviously him just like, oh, he's an informant, basically. Like
saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down. The president knows and has
you kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He's an FBI informant to try to take this down. Like, do you think he's making a strong statement here? Of like Donald Trump formally was like recognized. He was like he was a confidential informant to the FBI for Epstein. Like why if even if that was true, why would he know it and no one else has leaked or talked about this bullshit? Why wouldn't Trump say this? What a stupid fucking. Okay, sorry. So Cenk believes that was like an accidental slip from a very, very, very real and true piece of information. All right.
The FBI informant.
I know, but when a politician speaks, they're usually lying, and oftentimes they say very.
Oh my God! This is our political commentary. Like I'm watching an episode of House MD. When a politician speaks, they're usually lying. This is the level of analysis we get. Thank you.
Specific things that end up being.
I know, but think about it.
Okay.
Being an FBI informant is a disaster. That is not a thing that Trump would want anyone to know. Why? Because it's a bad idea to turn in a child predator? No, because usually they don't just come and go, hey, Bob, down the street, you want to be an FBI informant? No, they turn you into an FBI informant after they have evidence against you.
Oh my, you know what? You're right, you're right.
This can't be real life. Is this actually like, bro, my media?
I hadn't even considered that.
Yeah,
Right.
So that's why when he slips up, he even has like this little hitch in his head where he goes like, oh, oops, I shouldn't have said that. You can almost see it.
Can we cue that video up again? Yeah, that's actually a really good point, Cenk. I hadn't thought about that. Wow. Okay, so
there's more on that in a second, but yeah, let's see if we can see when he says it and how he reacts immediately after.
He's not saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down.
Well, also, he didn't kick him out when he first heard the rumor. He waited for one time and then a second time. Then he kicked him out, but okay.
Did you see it? He's like, he was an FBI informant. He did that. Like, oh, wait, I shouldn't have said that, right? So now I'm over-interpreting. You could say, hey, don't worry about the video. Look, I didn't see what you saw. That's not important. What's important is he said he was an FBI informant. That is not a random thing you make up. Then why is he walking it back today? He's walking it back today because people are going to start asking the question I'm asking, which is why? Why was he an FBI informant? And the number one group of people who are FBI informants are mobsters, as an example, who were caught and are going to go to prison for 20, 30 years or the rest of their life unless they turn on their boss, right? And so then they become an informant. Nobody ever becomes an informant out of the blue. Trump wasn't working at the FBI,
right?
And the FBI flips him into an informant. So then you can't help but ask, why? What did Trump do?
That's such a good point, and I hadn't thought of that. Now, is that true though, that no one is ever an FBI informant unless they're like essentially coerced into doing it because they engaged in wrongdoing and they don't want to be prosecuted for it?
So no, I can't say that it's true 100% of the time, but is it true an overwhelming percentage of the time? Yes. So I can envision a couple of scenarios. Somebody's maybe in a family, or
2 weeks ago, Mike Collins said this.
I didn't get to ask my question, which was, party unity, the Epstein files. I mean, do you think Trump's in there?
Yeah, I'm sure he's in there. Yeah. Because he's the one that was telling the FBI about it. He's the one that kicked the guy out of Mar-a-Lago and then called the FBI. Yeah, he's in there.
So what's going to happen? Are you going to vote to release him or vote to keep him?
Oh, we need to release him.
What about you?
Yeah, I have no problem releasing him. But, you know, you've got to go through...
So this is the talking points they all got?
Nice. You got to go through the judicial. We all know that. The problem is, you know, it'd be our luck that somebody's going to bleep somebody that's supposed to be protected. And then what?
Yeah, well,
so
you know,
they've got to go through and...
Victims' names and all that stuff.
They've got to go through and fix all of that. Yeah. And then, of course, now you got judges that are saying, I'm not going to release anything grand jury.
Or in a gathering that they didn't realize had bad guys in it, and then the FBI approaches them and says, "You're a good guy. You were in this gathering, but you didn't know, but they're mobsters. So can you be an informant for us because you would save a lot of lives, or etc." So it's not impossible, but the reason why that's very rare is because most of the time the standard operating procedure is you flip people into becoming informants.
But Cenk, it's amazing because now what we're talking about at this moment sheds some light on what is being referenced in this quote that I'm about to read to you. So this is Brad Andrews, an attorney who represents many of Epstein's victims. So this individual told reporters that Trump has done an about face on Epstein since 2009. Edwards said that when he spoke to Trump in 2009, Trump was friendly to the victim's plight and did not think that it was a hoax and was trying to help.
Like, who the fuck cares? Trump says all sorts of shit to appease. Why are we analyzing Trump's quotes like this is a serious person? Trump also said that he wishes the best for Ghislaine and hopes that, you know, she has a good time in jail or whatever, right? Like, why are we analyzing any of this guy's quotes as a serious thing?
Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison. And a lot of people want to know if she's going to turn in powerful people. And I know you've talked in the past about Prince Andrew, and you've criticized Bill Clinton's behavior. I'm wondering, do you feel that she's going to turn in powerful men? How do you see that working out?
I don't know. I haven't really been following it too much. I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well, whatever it is. I don't know the situation with Prince Andrew. Just don't know. Not aware of it.
Like... He just says a lot of retarded shit.
And now it seems like all of a sudden somebody is in his ear and he's not, Edwards said. So I'm hoping he'll come back to where he was back in 2009, be on the side of the victims and stand with us. Now, go ahead.
Jumping in again there. So guys, look, there is some percentage chance, you can put any percentage, you know, usually based on your perspective on what that is, that Trump just volunteered because he knew Epstein, he did, right? So that makes it plausible. And he was in the same social circle, so that makes it plausible that Trump raised his hand and said, hey, I'd like to help your investigations, right? Okay. Or the reason why the attorney for the victims is saying, oh yeah, back in the day Trump was really helpful was because he was an FBI informant who was forced to be helpful and was helpful to the victims back then. So that's interesting and amazing in and of itself. But then what he's alluding to is perhaps more remarkable. Why did he switch to now being opposed to the investigations and calling them a hoax when the attorney knows, the victims know, everybody knows, he knows it's not a hoax. He was in fact involved in it. So now it's because Mike Johnson, maybe he had a verbal hiccup, right? But when the attorneys for the victims confirm that Trump did help, it shows that he was involved. And again, normally they don't pick somebody out of the street to be involved. They pick some.
I don't think his attorneys confirmed in any meaningful sense, no? I feel like I remember watching one guy on TV say something like, I called Trump and he said that, like, you know, he gave me a little bit of information about him working with Epstein and he didn't try to attack us. Like, that was it, right? What, is he referencing something else? Was there something different besides that one fucking call? Who was I debating? It wasn't Rob Noor, it was somebody else who was trying to, it was that one stupid conservative guy who was like, oh, didn't you know that Trump actually helped the FBI? He gave a public statement or something. Oh wait, the guy tweeted about it. Who's got the tweets? And it was like, no, he didn't. What the fuck? There's no deposition. There's no log or record or court filing or anything with Trump testifying or being deposed related to Epstein. And then it was just this one stupid fucking phone call, or it was like interview for media where the guy was like, oh yeah, he called me once and it was chill. I think this is what he's referring to.
But he's
vindicated. Although I did misspeak a bit and there was never an official deposition or testimony, Trump did in fact work with prosecutors in 2009. Receipts. You said he testified in that criminal proceeding?
He testified again, I believe he gave a statement to the authorities. He might not have actually testified.
I just fact-checked it. No, there was no testimony.
He gave testimony. I'm sorry, he gave testimony. He did not testify, and that's confirmed by the DOJ. The DOJ is confirmed.
He gave testimony where? For what? I don't think this happened ever. I don't think he ever was interviewed or deposed or gave any statements about Epstein.
He did. I guarantee.
The only thing that I can say.
Okay, I think this is what they're talking about, right?
That I can say about President Trump is that he is the only person who, in 2009, when I served a lot of subpoenas on a lot of people, or at least gave notice to some pretty connected people that I wanted to talk to them, he is the only person who picked up the phone and said, let's just talk. I'll give you as much time as you want. I'll tell you what you need to know, and was very helpful in the information that he gave. and gave no indication whatsoever that he was involved in anything untoward whatsoever, but had good information that checked out and that helped us, and that we didn't have to take a deposition of.
Where are my lawyers in chat? By the way, that sounds exactly like a guy dodging a subpoena. If you serve me with a subpoena and I make a phone call to you and I'm like, hey, so I saw you have this shit that you either want like some kind of, you know, testimony, you want to depose me, you want some records. Can we like, let's just chat a little bit, okay? And we can like smooth over this. Like, we don't have to go down this road. Like, let me just tell you a few things, right? That's exactly what that is, by the way. And he even says it kind of where he's like, yeah, you know, you don't have to depose me.
That I wanted to talk to them. He is the only person who picked up the phone and said, let's just talk. I'll give you as much time as you want. I'll tell you what you need to know. And was very helpful in the information that he gave, and gave no indication whatsoever that he was involved in anything untoward whatsoever, but had good information that checked out and that helped us, and that we didn't have to take a deposition of him. That was in 2009? That was in 2009.
Didn't have to take a deposition means nothing was said under oath. He didn't sign on to any statements for contempt or perjury, liability or accountability. He just had a call on the phone. Like, that's the opposite of informing or testifying or anything. And it sounds like a guy who's trying to dodge a subpoena. If anything else, if you have any idea what the fuck you're talking about, that would be evidence to the contrary, but okay.
Confirm that Trump did help. It shows that he was involved.
This is why I don't trust any fucking media summarizing anything. Like, if I hadn't been aware of that thing, then I wouldn't even know. And then I would have to be aware of also of like legal shit to know. Because I guess if I didn't know anything about the legal process, that kind of sounds like Trump is helping. But it's not. This is Trump literally dodging. Sorry, fuck, I hate these people. Ugh.
The attorney knows, the victims know, everybody knows. He knows it's not a hoax. He was in fact involved in it. So now it's because Mike Johnson, maybe he had a verbal hiccup, right? But when the attorneys for the victims confirm that Trump did help, it shows that he was involved. And again, normally they don't pick somebody out of the street to be involved. They pick someone who was already involved and that they had evidence against.
Well, with all of that context in mind, you know, Congressman Thomas Massie, a libertarian who is really at odds with Donald Trump on this issue, recently went on ABC's This Week, and he had some thoughts of his own. Let's take a look.
The lawyers for the victim said that Donald Trump had been helpful in 2009 in their case by giving them information, but being an informant implies some formal connection and ongoing relationship with the FBI. I don't know what that's all about. I think the speaker needs to clarify that. And if it's a hoax, why was Donald Trump an informant to a hoax?
Yeah, then Trump does continue referring to this as a hoax. So if there's evidence that the president of the United States, at a time when he wasn't president, of course, back in 2009, was cooperating with the FBI, potentially serving as an FBI informant, what has happened that leads him to now refer to this very real issue as a hoax? Again, it's not a hoax.
And one more thing about that. Think about it. If Donald Trump had voluntarily helped to get relief for those victims, is there any chance he wouldn't brag about it? Okay.
There is no chance. Like, he would definitely brag about it because it would make him look good.
It would make him look amazing.
Right.
Check your Discord. Yes, there are Discord outages or something right now. I see that. There's something I can do about it.
The one guy who helped, that just volunteered out of nowhere and said to the FBI, you know what, I'm not sure about this guy. And maybe he did it for bad reasons. Oh, we had a property fight and he took some of my masseuses and from Mar-a-Lago, whatever. But it doesn't matter. If he did the right thing out of nowhere and volunteered, he should get an enormous amount of credit. I've never known Donald Trump not to want to get the credit that he deserves. So that's why the alternate explanation of he's desperately trying to hide that he was an FBI informant is because of why he was an informant.
God, my mind is like blown right now because there's more to the story, as you can imagine, right? So look, the DOJ is fighting very hard to cover certain things up that don't need to be covered up. So I'll give you an example. There's an NBC News exclusive. You can read for yourselves. It's titled DOJ names of two associates Epstein wired $100,000 and $250,000 should stay secret. That's what the DOJ says, right? The Justice Department request came out.
No shit. Because why would you? Well, fuck, never mind. Never mind. My audience is you guys are brain broken on this too. Never mind. Every single aspect of this investigation should just be leaked. Every single part of it, because every single person involved is guilty. Yes.
After NBC News asked a federal judge to unseal the names of two people Epstein paid and helped protect from prosecution. So NBC News has requested that this, federal judge essentially overseeing the Epstein case unseal those two names. Who did Jeffrey Epstein send $100,000 to and $250,000 to back in 2018 as that case was being revisited? That sweetheart deal that he received in 2008 was being revisited. So the first associate received a payment of $100,000 from Epstein, and the second associate received a payment of $250,000, both in 2018. Days after the Miami Herald began publishing a series of investigative stories where victims criticized a plea deal he received.
Destiny, lawyer in chat here. That is a fucking terrible excuse and is 100% trying to dodge a subpoena. If not under oath, it means zero. True. And if I was a client, I feel like I would be fucking mad, right? If we're serving subpoenas, the idea is supposed to be that this person has information that can help me with my claim. And now if my lawyer tells me, hey, just so you know, I went ahead and I called this guy and he actually said he had nothing, just so you know. And it's like, can you tell me what you guys talked about? It's like, oh, maybe not. But I have no record of it. And now now our subpoena on him is just canceled? The fuck? Who are you representing here? The other guy or me,
Florida in 2008. Now, as part of that plea agreement, Epstein secured a statement from federal prosecutors in Florida that the two individuals would not be prosecuted. Now, by the way, like, gross. Why? Why would anyone agree to that? But prosecutors wrote that on November 30th, 2018, Epstein wired $100,000 from a trust account he controlled to an individual named as, redacted, a potential co-conspirator, and for whom Epstein obtained protection in the NPA. So prosecutors also wrote that this individual was also named and featured prominently in the Miami Herald series. There's more. Prosecutors added that the same records show that just 3 days later, on or about December 3rd, 2018,
Really? You're saying someone giving sufficient info to get an arrest? Well, first of all, this is for a civil case, not for arrest. Like your house camera footage, it makes you look less guilty or involved if they have to subpoena you to get it. Yes, because let's say somebody subpoenas me and they say, Destiny, I want all of your Discord logs with my mom. Okay? Now let's say that I call you and I'm like, hey, listen, I see that you want to like shoot me the subpoena. How about we cancel this and I'll just send you like everything I've got. And you're like, oh, okay. Well, let's say that I don't send you all my logs with your mom. Let's say I just send you like the last month or two's worth and all of the super racy logs are, you know, all of our crazy conversations are from a year ago. Well, if that happens and I withhold some of that and I lie about giving it all to you, you go through your case and you lose because you don't have that information now about me banging your mom. What are you going to do? You can't hold me. You can't hold me liable for any of that. What do you mean? None of this was under oath. None of this was compelled by. You can't hold me in contempt. You can't do anything. You eat shit. Get fucked. You didn't come at me with a civil subpoena that's enforceable via contempt with the court. I just made a personal phone call and gave you what I said I had, and that's it.
The defendant wired $250,000 from the same trust account to redacted, this is the second individual, who was also named as a potential co-conspirator and for whom Epstein also obtained protection in the NPA. So clearly Epstein was attempting to influence possible witnesses or co-conspirators, because like why else would you send such a large sum of money to these two different individuals? And last month, NBC News sent a letter asking the U.S. District Judge Richard Berman to unseal the redacted names, arguing that, look, Epstein's dead, okay, criminal proceedings in this case have ended. The DOJ has made clear last summer, in July, that there would be no additional charges filed against uncharged third parties, so let us have the names. What's the problem with the names? And Trump's Justice Department is fighting tooth and nail to prevent the release of those two redacted names.
Yeah, so when I first saw the story, I thought, maybe they were victims and he's doing hush money. But then once you read it, no, it's super clear. They're co-conspirators and they would have been charged along with him. So they're the guilty, right? And he gets the money and he says, please don't prosecute them. And for some ludicrous reason, our government
The donor
agrees, okay?
class.
And remember, at that point, Epstein got the lightest sentence anybody's ever gotten. He can go in and out of jail. It was basically a hotel fraud,
That was in 2008.
2008. So that's when he says, okay, don't prosecute these guys and sends them the money, okay? So, but when NBC News is asking for it, Epstein's already dead, so he has no rights anymore. And the government has said there will be no further prosecutions. So NBC is rightly saying, and by the way, great job by NBC News here, saying, hey, then there's no reason legally to hold those names from the public.
Well, the damaged party wouldn't be Epstein. It would be the people whose names would be leaked.
Right.
So then the Department of Justice jumps in and goes, no, don't tell anybody about those names. Now, if you were trying to protect the victims, that's super weird. If you're trying to protect the guilty, that makes sense.
Why are you saying the guilty? Not only have these people not been convicted of any crimes, these people weren't even charged with crimes. There wasn't even probable cause to charge them with a crime or to even attempt to solicit an indictment from a grand jury. And you're already calling them guilty? Jesus.